Alright, so we're going to write down our steps. Alright, so we're going to identify the steps in solving an equation. So our goal, whenever we're solving, we want to find what x equals. Our final answer should be x equals something. Now, there's going to be a situation, oh I'm sorry, in this problem we're talking about a's, so our answer really is going to be a equals. But we need to be careful about restrictions. We're never allowed to have what in the denominator? A 0. Yeah, so if there was an a down here, we'd have to be careful and restrict certain a values. But in this case, there aren't any a's in the denominator, so we don't have to worry about our restriction. But the very first step is going to be identify any restrictions we need to make. Our second step, now our goal is to solve for x, or I'm sorry, solve for a in this case. And when we have all these fractions, it's a little harder to deal with when we're dealing with fractions. So we want to get rid of all those fractions. Any ideas of how we could get rid of all those fractions quickly? What could I multiply by on this side, on the left side, to get rid of that denominator? A 6, yeah. Okay, so if I multiply by 6 here, and I can't just do it to one side, I have to do it to both sides. So I'd multiply by 6 on this side. Now, would that 6 also get rid of that 2 and that 3? Would it? If I multiplied it in, it would, right? Because the 6 and 3 simplify and the 6 and 2 simplify, so it would. And 6 just happens to be our LCD. So it's not always going to be that simple that it's staring us right in the face right there, but we need to find our lowest common denominator of our denominators. Does anybody need me to write that out? LCD? Do we know what that means now? LCD? Least common denominator. Okay. So our next step would be then to multiply both sides by the LCD. Now be really careful. I had a couple of people in my other class where they were multiplying this right here by 6 and that right there by 6. So make sure when you say multiply both sides that you're saying, okay, this is my equal sign. I need to multiply by 6 there and there on both sides of the equal sign. So be careful. All right, and last step, we just need to simplify. And what do you think we're checking for? Any guesses? What are we checking for? For what? Alright, we're going to talk about what we need to check for later. So, if we multiply by 6 on this side, some students are going to want to do this. Oh, 6 times 2 is 12. A. 6 times 3, 18 over 6. What do you think? Is that a good idea or a bad idea? Bad idea. What would be maybe a better idea? It's not wrong. It's just you could do it a lot easier. How could we do that easier? More easily? Factor. Thank you, Chris. He said we have to instead of multiplying that 6 in, we just should simplify the 6. So instead of doing it this way, we can leave it in factored form. 6 times 2a minus 3 over 6, and the 6's will simplify. So we end up with just 2a minus 3 on this side of the equation. And we did what we wanted to do. We got rid of our fraction. All right, let's go check on the other side, see what happens. We're multiplying our 6 in both places, so be careful. Is there any other way I could write 6 that would maybe help me out? Instead of just writing a 6 here and a 6 there, what else could I write that might help me? Ah, 2 times 3, that's the same as 6, right? So, Darian just suggested, what if I wrote 2 times a times 2 times 3 in the numerator, and here just 2 times 3 over 2? I distributed my 6 here and there. I just wrote it in factored form, right? Now, why is that beneficial to me? Why is that nice and easy and simple now? Stuff cancels out. Yeah, it's really easy to see. Oh yeah, that 2 cancels with that 2, and I'm left with 3. And this 3 cancels with that 3, it becomes 1, right? That's just a form of 1. And then we multiply 2 times 2, so we have 4a. All right. I'm going to hit pause. I want you guys to keep going with this and tell me what 8 is. All right. So we get all our a's on one side, get all our numbers on the other side, and we divide by 2. And a equals what? -3. Alright, now I want to say yes, this is my answer, but I'm not really sure yet. Because I have to double check. Were there any restrictions? Were there any values of a that a was not allowed to equal? There were nothing going on. So I just heard someone say, we have to check for extraneous solutions. Check and make sure there weren't any extra answers that we got that really don't work. Okay, so we can plug -3 back into our equation and double check that it works out wonderfully. Alright, I'm going to hit pause for the video. Video is not going to have the next 2 problems, but the next 2 problems are this one and this one. You are going to do coach and player activity, so I'm going to stop the video.